Well, I feel a bit of a rotter singling out a particular teacher, because they were all my teachers were wonderful. They're precious to me. They are part of my growing up, and they're in my spirit, and I very often think of them. But I remember the way Mr. Casmer, when I was in 4th class, I would have been about 9, started lecturing us about smoking. Now, he was really in advance of his time. As it happened, neither of my parents smoked, but a lot of people, especially males, smoked after the Second World War. They'd learned it in the AIF and in the army. And he was really in advance of his time, and who knows how many students who went on and didn't smoke because of that instruction then, and their lives have not been blighted. In those times we had education in the form of radio broadcasts from the ABC, and Terence Hunt, who had a beautiful baritone voice, was our teacher in songs for schools. And we learned to sing together. And nothing is so harmonious and beautiful as a class of Australian public school students singing together the lovely songs that Terry Hunt taught us. And H.D. Black gave us notes on the world, and I remember him telling our class about the advance of Chairman Mao and the communist insurgents against Chiang Kai-shek in China. So all of these things are very vivid in my mind, and my teachers would then get into explaining it, explaining the significance of the atomic weapons, explaining the new United Nations organisation, and explaining how we Australians had to stand for the new principles of universal rights. It was a marvellous period to be a school child, and I had wonderful teachers, and I'll always be grateful to my public education. I love my public education in Australia. In my schools, my teachers constantly encouraged us to think for ourselves and to question and to ask questions. Now, that can, I think, with all respect, be better done and easier done in a public school than it can in a private or religious school. I'm not against private and religious schools, but I do think there is a special ethos of egalitarianism and non-orthodoxy. You don't have to adhere to a particular religion. You don't have to adhere to a particular social value or economic strata of society. You can be a questioner and a dissenter. And I think my public education was a very good preparation for being what I conceive an Australian citizen to be, somebody who will question everything and require that every aspect of our public life is questioned, justified and answered. And that's what I learned in my schooling.